You're listening to WSRQ, the voice of Sarasota. Welcome back to Empowering Small Business. I'm Dave Kauffman. I'm talking with Stan Schultes and Sara Hand from Station 2. And before the break, we talked about the 5 M's: message, market, money, and model. Stan, talk to us about the message part of what you do.
Good morning again, Sarasota and Bradenton. So message is a really important part of what small business is about. If nobody knows what you do, then they won't know that you exist.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ways of getting your message out, but getting the right message out is really the key to succeeding. And so that really requires you to understand what your market is, to jump ahead a little bit, and understand what it is that people want. What are the problems that they're going to be able to solve for their customers? And then the company crafts a message that describes how it is that they're going to solve the problem and what benefits they're going to get from that product or service or whatever it is that they actually offer. So message itself, the idea of the brand that you have, the little quick picture that lets people identify what it is that you do and how you do it is a really critical part of successful small business operation.
And so you help them develop that message.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the process that you use?
Well, we have as always, we have a network of people that we work with who are really good at branding and messaging. We work with, we've developed some skills of our own, of course, along the way. So we help through several different kinds of processes, business development processes, to understand what it is that they do. For example, the business canvas, and other things like that. There's a number of things that the business incubation networks use as great tool sets, and understanding what they do. It's like we ran a quick pitch last night. Quick pitch is a 90-second pitch of your idea as an entrepreneur and a call to action. And it's through programs like that where we help people, we bring people together, we let the entrepreneurs work with each other. Not that we let them, they naturally work with each other in a co-working space, and they teach each other and learn. Everybody has different skills, and if you get a fresh set of eyes on a problem, if you're working on your own problem, you get so deep involved in it, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you have to zoom up and become objective. So that's our role, is really being objective and helping. Because it's message is a very subjective thing.
Sure.
But being as objective as possible, and then back to the idea of it's okay to fail. Try a message.
Right.
Get some feedback. Understand what people hear. Make sure that they're hearing what you want them to hear. Go back and refine, hone it. It's okay to make mistakes. Try crazy things. You never know what's going to catch on in the market.
Right.
What's going to go viral. Create videos. Put them on YouTube. Make sure your website links to things. Be on social media. Talk to people through Twitter and Instagram. Be everywhere your customers are. Let them choose how they want to hear your message.
Very good. Very good. Sara Hand, can you talk to us about the second M, which is market?
So the understanding is a lot of times when people start their business, they say everybody's my prospect. Unless you have air,
right?
Everybody is not your prospect,
right. Or should they be?
And they shouldn't. And the really cool thing is when you understand what makes you uniquely valuable, and you can craft that into a message that conveys that, you're going to weed through and find out who your market is. And that's the important part, is understanding who do you provide a service for. I know you're a big Zig Ziglar fan, and so what I love about having actually I got to meet him before he passed away. Really awesome. He came to our church. But I love what Zig says about sales is that if you don't have socks and I have socks, then it's okay for you to pay me for those socks. Understanding what makes you uniquely valuable, putting that into a way to communicate that, and then figuring out who do I best serve with that is your market. And understanding everybody's not your prospect. Al was talking earlier, you guys were talking about sales and cash flow. Understanding everybody's not my prospect. Who is my market? Is it like I was saying, unless you sell air, that's it. I mean, everybody should drink water, but a lot of people don't.
Right.
So who is my market? Who do I serve? And that's really, and then when you're understanding, you'll have a primary market, and then you'll have several other different aspects to your market. Focus. I have this picture of oil wells that I use. I'm like, if you're gonna drill oil wells, are you gonna drill 10 at one time? No, you're gonna drill one until you hit oil. You're gonna take the profits from that oil well and use it to help you drill the next one. So you research, you check your message out. Like, Dave, this is what I do, and Dave looks at me, and you go, oh yeah, I get that. Or you look at me with this blank stare. They go, oh, wow, that message doesn't work.
Right.
So I find out who my market is. I pick the one that feasibility, the one that makes most sense. Is it low-hanging fruit, or does it make more sense to go after a bigger target? So I pick that, and that's how I roll out strategically how I'm going to grow my business. I pick which part of my market. But first I have to understand that everybody's not my prospect and who actually is my market.
Sure. And I love that you mentioned focus. I have an acronym for focus. Follow one course until successful. That's what focus means. And that's what we see a lot of entrepreneurs do. They're on this path, and they look to the right and they see a squirrel and they look, we could do this too. And I suffer from that because I'm a ADD D-type personality.
Never happens to me.
I know, right?
So
the flip side, though, to focus, the follow one course is something that happens to entrepreneurs, or should happen maybe, is this idea of pivot. If what you're doing isn't working, don't beat it to death.
Right.
You have to figure out when to come up for air and when to maybe switch your direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back, we were, talking during break about what Al brought up in the beginning of the show, which is this piece about failure. And I made a note on it that in the old world, where you had strategic plans, people put together 5-year plans, and the economy was much more stable, less connected, not as rapid. The important part is that failure was not rewarded.
Right.
In today's world, things change daily. Mm-hmm. The life cycle of a product is maybe still 18 months. They say with the internet of everything, actually the mass amount of data collected about human beings is going to be doubling like every 24 hours. Oh my gosh, can you believe that? Yeah. So everything is changing so quickly. In today's world, you want people to fail. But if you're measuring very frequently, like an airplane is off course most of the time, I'm getting feedback and I'm adjusting. And I think that's a really key thing for entrepreneurs to understand is have an idea where you're going. Even MapQuest needs a destination, but you're recalculating daily.
Right. Yeah. And Darren Hardy, the editor of Success Magazine, showed me a pendulum, and he said we all have this comfort zone. We're talking about failure here, and not embracing, not going out and looking to make failures, but not looking to protect yourself. In other words, be vulnerable, try new things. He said we all have this comfort zone, and there's a pendulum that swings back and forth. And we, if I was to ask you, is your life 100% glorious? No faults, no nothing, you would say no. And if I'd ask you, is it 100% terrible, you would say no. So every one of us have this comfort zone where it gets a little bit of negative. We got to pay the bills, and we struggle sometimes as entrepreneurs. But then we also have this positive side where things in life are pretty good. And he says we allow that pendulum to go back and forth within our comfort zone. But he said take the comfort zone wall and push them out as far as you can. Because that pendulum, if we take it all the way over into the negative and try new things and fail at things and learn from those mistakes, if it goes way up high, that pendulum is going to come back and it's going to pick up all of the positive, the rewards for the struggle. And I thought that was so cool. So when I coach people, I talk to them a lot about try new things, just as Stan was saying, try new things. Don't be scared to fail, because what you can learn from that is you pick up some great pieces of wisdom.
I don't know, there's an old saying, it says smooth seas never made a great sailor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You got to put people under stress a little bit to help them hone their skills.
And I think that's what's really exciting. It's as an entrepreneur, it one day it's the thrill of victory, and the next day you feel like the old sports commercial. You feel like somebody kicked you in the stomach.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's wonderful, and it's that place of in those moments where you feel kicked in the stomach and you think that you're going to die.
Yeah.
And you really examine who you are. There's some great things that come out of that as far as building strength and character. And that's why you see people that may fail or may do some things, but you're building that character and that ability to go on and be able to handle the success. Because there's nothing more devastating to see somebody who's had phenomenal success but didn't have the strength of character and the infrastructure to support that in their life.
Right. So I'm talking with Stan Schultes and Sara Hand from Station 2. And when we come back, we'll dive into their new program, The Soft Landing. Don't go anywhere.